Assalamualaikum and good evening to Dr. Izlan Sarazin and Dr. Muhammad Syahril. My name is Muhammad Khairul Shah bin Kamaluddin and I'm from 4GHP. My supervisor is Dr. Farin Ain binti Ismail Kasim. So today, I will present my final year project 1, which the title of Factor Influencing Investment Decision on Residential Property in Bangi, Selangor. Thesis presentation outline. For my thesis presentation, we start with a research background, continue by problem statement, research question and objective, scope of study, significance of study, literature review, research methodology, and expected outcome. Research background. First of all, as we know, residential property is a basic need for every people in the world. The house is a physical structure that gives us comfort, security, shelter, and also a framework to achieve economy, social, enriching, and cultural resource by Hillary 2012. Home ownership, stabilized family life, and also self-investment by Rahman 2010. Hence, investing is a general movement that we do not repeat every day but give a significant impact to our life to have a better life. Investor purchase a property with intention to get a financial return by two ways, which is capital acquisition and also rental yield. Hence, housing investment is considered a long-term investment that can give impact toward a micro and macro perspective. Problem statement. First of all, property is one of the important parts that contribute to our economic growth. Property is hedged against inflation, hence is considered as very good investment. Other than that, residential property is a basic need for every people. All the investor will try a investment property in a residential as a their startup investment journey. Investor is a person that purchase a property with intention to get a financial return. However, they need some requirement, which is a good financial background, good knowledge, and efficient strategy. Their aim is to get a capital acquisition and also rental yield. By combining all these elements, this research will help the investor to purchase a residential property or a good residential property by analyzing the factor influencing their investment decision. Based on the graph above, we can see that property is a very good investment for all, as we know that capital acquisition for the property increase over the year, and it is good for the investor to get a profit. On the other side, the market value for the landed property increase more compared to the high-rise property. For the rental yield for the high-rise is more compared to the landed property, and a good investor will maximize both of these elements to ensure they can achieve the highest and maximum profit. On the other hand, this research will help the investor to choose the right property by determine and contribute to the factor influencing their investment decision. Research analysis. First of all, for the first research question is, what are the factors that influencing investment decision on the residential property in Bangi, Selangor? Their research objective is to investigate the factor that influencing investment decision on residential property in Bangi, Selangor. Research methodology for data collection is by questionnaire, and for the data analysis by mean score statistic. For the second part, the second research question is, what are the ranking of the factor influencing investment decision on residential property in Bangi, Selangor? Their research objective is to rank the factor influencing investment decision on residential property in Bangi, Selangor. Research methodology that being used is same as the first, which is data collection by questionnaire and data analysis by mean score statistic. For this research scope of study, there are three main parts, which is a property investment, and number 2 is a residential property, and number 3 is area of Bangi, Selangor. Significance of this study. This study will give a new perspective and new knowledge toward the property investment decision. First of all, it contributes to the community. This research will help the community to have a better understanding toward the property investment, which will help them to have a better life. For the property investor, this study will help them to maximize their profit while reduce their risk, and also to choose the best property for their investment. For the property advisor or researcher, this research will help them to have a better perspective toward the factor influencing property investment decision. Last but not least, this research will help the government to create a better policy maker in terms of property sector. Now, we will focus for the literature review outline. In this research, I divide to the three main parts, which is the first is the residential property background, number 2 is property investment framework, and number 3 is the factor influencing property investment decision. Type of residential property. In this research, I focus into the 5 main type of residential property, include single-story terrace, double-story terrace, semi-D, condominium, and also apartment. The second element in the literature review outline is a property investment framework. The first part is the aspect that should be considered to start investing in property. Based on CRIS 2003, state that a good property investor should understand the risk and financial profile. They also should understand the cash flow management, develop a future life plan, and understand the property market and all the requirements needed. The second element is the property financial management. Based on N 2010, state that property can be bought, either asset or also liability. However, a good property investor will maximize their property as an asset to ensure they can increase their wealth. The third part is the learn purpose and debt strategy. Based on Gere 2016, state that understanding the loan repayment will help the investor to develop their cash flow management. The fourth part is a type of property investor. There are three types of investor, which is the conservative investor, balance investor, and also the growth investor. Next, the element is a property investment process. This element is very important to all the investors. This because understanding the process related will help the investor to achieve their aim and all their goal. Last but not least is managing investment property. The third element in this literature review outline is a factor influencing investment decision, and this element is very important that contribute for decisions. The first factor is a financial factor. As we know, all investors invest in order to have a maximum profit. Hence, financial factor is very important. Based on Reddis Law 2018, state there are three parts in a financial factor, which is price factor, return on investment, and also risk analysis. The second factor is a location factor. Different location has a different value, and location give a significant impact on the property value and also investment decision. So based on Witowski 2020, state that distance has a big factor toward the preferred investment decision. The third element is a demand and supply analysis, because this reflects our property market. On the other side, based on Asiati 2011, state that understanding the demand and supply analysis will help us to forecast for our future value in investment property. The fourth part is a detail and specification. This focuses on the property such as neighborhood, gated garden, community, facility, and others. Based on FIRO 2080, people are start looking for investment property that have a better lifestyle. Number 5 is a structural attribute. The structural attribute focus on the property itself. It includes a land size, it includes a build-up, number of bedroom, number of bathroom, and others. And this part is very important for the investor in their factor influencing investment decision. The next factor that influencing the investment decision is a property expectation. As we know, the investor will try to looking for a property that give a better future value. This same as stated by Zoo 2006 that the rapid urbanization led to increase in demand of the property that will give a benefit to the investor in terms of capital gain. The next factor is modest interest rate. Interest rate has linked with the property demand. As we can see now, when the interest rate low, people tend to buy a property. Investors tend to buy the property, which will help them to have a lower interest rate and to ensure it can help to increase the property demand. The other factor is a development concept. Now people tend to buy a house that offer a better lifestyle living. Such as have a good facility, good lifestyle, and good community. And this is the factor that also need to consider by the investor. Stated by the Cater 2008. The other factor is a macroeconomic factor. Macroeconomic factor will also affect our economic activity and the property market itself. This state by the Cunningham 2011. Last but not least, the government initiative. Stated by the Hussein 2020, government initiative will help the purchaser or also the investor to buy a property that will help to increase a property market demand. Next, we focus on the research methodology. Research methodology provides the researcher with the necessary platform for mapping out the research styles in a relevant manner and develop a proper plan. First of all, for the research, in the research philosophy, we use a realism research philosophy. In the second element, which is a research approach, we use an abduction approach. In the third part, which is a methodological approach, we use a quantitative approach. Next, focus on the data collection, we will use a questionnaire using a 5-point Likert scale. For the population, we will targeting the investor in the Bangi, Selangor. Next, for the sampling, there are 200 respondents needed using the Slovene formula where degree of confidence is 95%. Research framework. In this part, we give a simple explanation as summary to the framework that we use in this research. First of all, for the first stage, it called as introduction or preliminary study. In this part, the researcher share the information toward the Malaysian property investing market and all other information related to it. Other than that, for the first part, The researcher also shared about the research background, problem statement, research question and research objective, scope and limitation, and also expected outcome. For the second stage, it's called a literature review. In this part, we collect the data and all other information and input from previous research and all other information. This help we identify the analysis, the information, and find the gap between the previous research. In this part, I have divided into the three main elements, which is the first element called as a residential property background, and the second part called as a property investment framework, and the last part called as a factor influencing investment decision. Next, we continue for the third stage of the research framework. It is called as a collection of data. In this part, we will separate into the two ways, which is a primary data and secondary data. The primary data, we use a quantitative research method. Means we use a questionnaire to the 200 respondents using the 5-point Likert scale, from the strongly disagree to the strongly agree, and the question is on the structural form. And the second part is a secondary data. In this part, we will collect data from a relevant agency and a relevant company that relate to the investment and property market. And the fourth stage is called as an analysis of the data. Analysis of the data is very important to ensure we can achieve our goal and achieve our finding. In this part, we use a SPSS and use a descriptive analysis. From the descriptive analysis, we focus on the mean score statistic. Now, we come to the last part of this presentation. For the last part is called as expected outcome. For the expected outcome, I hope the study will give more information to the Malaysian property market. On the other side, I hope this research will be a very valuable and useful information to the investor to understand the property investment framework and also all the process related. On the other side, I hope the study will increase the knowledge, especially in the field of property investment, and also all the people can understand that property investment is very good opportunity for us to have a better life. Last but not least, understanding the factor that should be considered in the property investment will help the investor, also home purchaser, to have a maximum profit and reduce the risk. Hope all these research will give a good information and good knowledge for us to have a better life. Alright, that's all for my presentation for Viva 1. Thank you so much for Dr. Izran and Dr. Muhammad Syahril for your time to evaluate me. Thank you and stay safe.